was here at the Hammersmith Odeon in 1973 that David Bowie performed his final concert as Ziggy Stardust.
Bye-bye, we love you.
A year later, I made my film Cracked Actor for the BBC. Bowie was in America on the Diamond Dogs tour. I caught him in the midst of an intensely creative time, but it was also physically and emotionally grueling. We met in hotel rooms in the early hours of the morning. We snatched conversations in the back of limousines. He was fragile, exhausted and wasted, struggling with the madness of rock stardom. By the end of that tour, Bowie had killed off his extraordinary cast of characters, his alter egos, and moved on to the more wholesome, soulful young Americans. David Bowie's had an amazing career, but for the last decade, he's been silent, until now. First, he surprised us with a new album, and now his legacy is being revisited in an exhibition at the V&A Museum. Tonight, Imagine looks at a decisive moment in David Bowie's personal and creative life. Cracked Actor.
I just wonder if you get tired of being outrageous. If that gets
I don't
to be
think I'm outrageous
at all.
Mm-hmm.
If you describe yourself as ordinary, what adjective would you use?
David Bowie.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm reluctant to make the judgment about what category you fit into, and I'm hoping that you would say, yes. Oh, no, I wouldn't be that pretentious, but maybe you have a feeling yourself.
No, I'm really very old-fashioned. I like moving from one area of writing or performing to another to keep me excited, to keep me interested, to keep the people who come to see me or buy records interested and excited as well.
If you didn't understand that, don't feel badly, because I certainly didn't. David, I know you're watching tonight with the BBC film crew, and it's wonderful to have your old-fashioned entertainment around until the Beatles get back together, but it sure would be nice to talk to somebody who's not being evasive and discussing riddles.
I'm closer to the golden dawn, immersed in Crowler's uniform of imagery. I'm living in a silent film, portraying Himmler's sacred realm of dream reality. I'm frightened by the total goal, drawing to the ragged hole, and I ain't got the power anymore. No, I ain't got the power anymore. Fall asleep at night as a rock and roll star.
Ziggy became a spectacular success, and so ironically did his alter ego David Bowie. And then at the height of his fame, in the presence of He was born David Robert Jones in Brixton, London in 1947. At 17 he was Davy Jones, playing saxophone in his own band. He studied mime and decided to combine this with music to create a new and spectacular rock theatre, in which he played characters like Major Tom, Aladdin Sane, and most successful of all, Ziggy Stardust. 2 years ago, he came to America and buried Ziggy somewhere between New York and Hollywood. What made all of this important to you? I mean, with your background, why were you intrigued by all of this?
It was, I mean, it filled a vast expanse of my imagination. I was always pretty imaginative. And the imagination can dry up in wherever you're living in England often. I mean, if there's nothing to keep it going. It just supplied a need in me. America became a myth land for me. I think every kid goes through it eventually, but I just got onto it earlier.
The area that we are now driving through was at one time exclusively for movie stars, producers, writers, and so on. Straight in front of you, the home of Dean Martin, right straight in front of you. Somebody was standing in that doorway, and I tried to get up fast enough, and I couldn't. Okay, coming up to the right side of the coach again, folks, was the former home of Dean Martin's very best buddy, Frank Sinatra.
Who also happens to be her stepfather, and Linda Christian. Marbella reports Sean Connery settled the fight. Obviously, Sean hasn't forgotten some of his former James Bond tricks.
Hollywood highs, best of the last real star they ever had. Stiff on my legend, fumes that I made. Forget that I'm filthy, cause you just got made. Cry, baby, cry, show me you feel. Smile, baby, smile, is all that you feel. Stop, baby, stop, give me your hair. Before you stop professing that you're not gonna be dead. Since you've been your baby, you're porcupine. Sold you illusions for back when the checks made a bad connection, cause I just want your sex. Cry, baby, cry, show me the real. Smile, baby, smile, all that you feel. Son, baby, son, give me your hand. Before you stop the person that you're not to be dead.
Grab the towel, will you? It's going to tear the alternate down.
The towel?
Yeah.
Tissues for my eyes, please.
Can you take tissues from his eye?
No, can I have tissues for my eyes?
Let me do it for you.
It looks most like that when I shoot that. Can you see it?
We're not stopped. Is there anything behind us? But no. There's an underlying unease here, definitely. I mean, you can feel it in every avenue. It's very calm, and it's a kind of a superficial calmness that they've developed to underplay the fact that that there's a lot of high pressure here, as it's a very big entertainment industry area. And you get this feeling of unease with everybody. The first time that it really came home to me, what a kind of strange fascination it has, is I came in on the train, on the earthquake, and the earthquake was actually taking place when the train came in. And the hotel that we were in was just tremored every few minutes. I mean, it was just revolting feeling. And ever since then, I've always been very aware of how dubious a position it is to stay here for any length of time.
City to love in a doorway, strangled some screams from the dome. And isn't it me putting pain in a stranger, like a portrait in flesh or trails on a leash? Well, you see, break up my room and yawn and I'm to the center of things. Well, I know it would say, boys, it's a sweet thing. Boys, it's a sweet thing, sweet thing. If you want it, boys, get it here then. For home, boys, it's a cheap thing, cheap thing. Yeah. It's amazing, it even smells like a street. There's a bar at the end where I can meet you and your friends. Someone scrawled on the walls, I smell the blood of the troubadours. Rolled up scandals in other bars. I'm having so much fun with the poisonous people, spreading rumors and lies on stories they made up. Some make you sing, and some make you scream, and one makes you wish that you've never been seen. There's a shop on the corner selling papier-mâché, selling boiler coat, braces, Molly, match and Cassius playing. Want it? Boys, get it here, baby. See by the light, say they want you. Say anyone out there, anytime. I'd say push me on my watch. Hey, gorgeous, I need you. When it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, I go to pieces. You party, boys, get it here, baby. Sweet way to look good, now hold up my head. I gave you all I had in another hand. Another floor, and sailing like a church with a orange on. Guess that one more time, two by my side and two by my buy some drugs and watch a band, jump in a river holding hands. This is the way I do cut-ups. I don't know if it's like the way Brian Geisen does his or Burroughs does his. I don't know. But this is the way I do. I've used this method only on a couple of actual songs. What I've used it for more than anything else is igniting anything that might be in my imagination. And it can often come up with very interesting attitudes to
look into. I tried doing it with diaries and things, and I was finding out amazing things about me and what I'd done and where I was going. And a lot of the things that I'd done, it seemed that it would predict things about the future or tell me a lot about the past. It's really quite an astonishing thing. I suppose it's a very Western tarot. I don't know. Anyway, let's see what happens.
I'm an alligator. Oh, mama, papa, calling for you. How was the space invaded? I feel rock and rollin', bitch for you. Keep your mouth shut. Just walking like a big monkey. I must have knocked my brains from the west. Keep your electric eye on me, baby, 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 baby. Put your bacon to my head. Press your space legs close for my love, 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 love. Feed cow and moonlit stay tree. Oh yeah. Don't fake it, baby.
I never wanted to be a rock and roll star. I never, honest God, I wasn't even there. But I was, you see, I was there. That's what happened. No, it excited me just because it was there. That was enough. I mean, personally, I was playing saxophone, and I was trying to make up my mind whether I wanted to play rock and roll or jazz. And as I wasn't very good at jazz, and I could fake it pretty well in rock and roll, so I played rock and roll. And I found I enjoyed writing. The only thing I was ever really good at school was composition. Not grammatically, I was always terrible in grammar, but I could always write better stories than anybody else.
Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild, a million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. I said that time may change me, but I can't trace time.
I think we all feel the same way, don't we? I mean, it's pretty...
Music in general is an important part of all our lives.
Yeah, exactly.
We're big rock fans.
And Bowie, we thought was the best.
God. He intentionally keeps himself a mystery.
Yeah, right.
Because he's always being somebody else on stage, or trying to be somebody else on stage. And he keeps his own personality a complete mystery, so it adds to the aura and makes him a more interesting person in public.
Watching him dash away, swinging an old bouquet, turquoise and sake and strange divine.
It was my initial fascination with mime and expressing things with facial movements and body talk. rather than articulating things. I mean, I'd done as much articulating as I felt was necessary with the actual songs. And if I was going to present them in more than a single dimension, I mean, if I was going to present them visually, then I wanted my body or my muscles to play an active part in the performance. It's funny that the same, very similar masks to the Kabuki stick masks were used with the English Mummers Theatre. And it's very strange that they should come up with very similar designs for faces. I don't know what the link would have been, but there must have been some link. That is kind of from the Aladdin Sane album. Aladdin Sane was a schizophrenic. That's accounted for lots of the why there were so many costume changes, because he had so many personalities that each, as far as I was concerned, each costume change was a different facet of personality. This is likewise another Japanese costume. These are all Japanese, and most of this stuff is Japanese. Most of my clothes are Japanese. I've always been very fond of Kabuki-style clothes. That's another Aladdin Sane thing. Aladdin Sane, I saw him as... I found a lightning bolt really representing him. This was the first Japanese costume that I got, which this was originally worn by a woodland creature, Japanese theatre. That's why it has fun little animals on it. It says in there, Yamamoto Kansai. Dry cleaning only.
I couldn't sell this joint. Morgan, can you save this hanger?
More than anything else, I saw that a lot of my songs were very illustrative and picturesque. And I felt there were other ways of performing on stage. I was never very confident of my voice, you see, as a singer. So I thought, rather than just sing them, which would probably bore the pants off everybody, I'd like to kind of portray the songs rather than just sing them. That's really how it started, wanting to portray the material I was writing. I always found that my material, I felt it was more through three-dimensional. I wanted to give it dimension. I wanted to give it some other dimension other than that of just being a song. You know? What time is it?
It's 8 o'clock on the nose.
Right. Does anybody say how long I've got?
They said 5 minutes, 10 minutes ago.
Did they? It's a 8:15 start.
Probably not.
Time is waiting in the wings. He speaks of senseless things. His script is you and me. Boy, time flexes like a whore, falls wanking to the floor. His trick is you and me. Boy, time and quaaludes and red wine, devour me Billy dolls, other friends of mine. Take your time, sniper in the brain, cogitates and take, and sassers in the vein, and many other last names.
I'm leaving.
That way. No. No.
You, not a victim. You just scream with boredom. You are not evicting time.
And I never get bored.
You know, like
really,
stones.
I never get bored because I can always
stones
change.
Get tired.
I'll draw a different picture this way or that way.
Stones get tired.
Don't you know you're driving your Robinson's Robbers insane? For you pretty things. Don't you know you're driving your Robinson's Robbers insane? Let me make it plain. Gotta make way for the who's superior.
I like people who are AC/DC. You know what I mean? No, I'm not saying Bowie's the best.
I guess I'm living my fantasy.
What's your fantasy?
Bowie. He represents it all to me. Excitement, space. See, I'm just the space cadet. He's the commander.
You saw for a long period, or for certainly over the last couple of years, a lot of kids sort of aping you almost, or looking very like you, so that they would dress up and put things on very similar to you. How did you feel about
Well, a lot of it came out starting off like that, but over the last year or so it's changing, and in as much that they're finding out things maybe nothing to do with me, but the idea of finding another character within themselves. I mean, if I've been at all responsible for people finding more characters in themselves than they originally thought they had, then I'm pleased, because that's something I feel very strongly about, that one isn't totally what one has been conditioned to think one is. That there are many facets of the personality which a lot of us have trouble finding, and some of us do find too quickly.
He's from his own universe.
What universe is that?
Bowie universe.
Are you into the Bowie universe?
He's the center. I was drawn to it.
How were you drawn to it?
I'm from Phoenix, and I just came.
Please tread them gently, they don't like to fall. Oh, by jingo. There's no room for anger, we're all very small. Oh, by jingo. We're painting our faces and dressing in thoughts from the skies, from paradise. But they think that we're holding a secretive ball. Want someone invite them, they're just taller children. That's all. After all. Somebody's accelerating very, very fast and you're not driving. And you get that thing in your chest when you're being forced backwards and you think, ooh, and you're not sure whether you like it or not. It's that kind of feeling. That's what success was like. The first thrust of being totally unknown to being what seemed to be very quickly known. It was very frightening for me. And coping with it was something that I tried to do. And that's what happened. That was me coping. Some of those albums were me coping. Taking it all very seriously, I was.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Check ignition and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can.
Wasn't it rather a dangerous thing to do, to play the roles?
Well, I didn't know. I mean, when you're that mixed up, and I've been mixed up, man. I mean, really, it was, one doesn't know. One half of me is putting a concept forward, and the other half is trying to sort out my own emotions. And a lot of my space creations are, in fact, facets of me I have now since discovered. But I wouldn't even admit that to myself at the time. That I would put everything, just make everything a little kind of upfront personification of how I felt about things. Ziggy would be something, and it would relate to me now, I find. And Major Tom in Space Oddity was something. Lad Insane. They're all facets of me. And I wasn't really, I got lost at one point. I couldn't decide whether I was writing characters or whether the characters were writing me, or whether we were all one and the same.
Straight and narrow, and the roads were small and yellow, and the rumor spread that I was aging fast. When I ran across a monster who was sleeping by a tree, and I looked and frowned, and the monster was me. Well, I said hello, and I say hello. And I asked why not, and I replied I don't know. So he asked the simple black bird, who was happy as can be. Well, he laughed insane and quit Khalil Gibran. And I cried for all the others till the day was nearly through, where I realized that God's a young man too.
When I first wrote Ziggy, I mean, it was just an experiment. It was an exercise for me. And he really grew sort of out of proportion, I suppose. Got much bigger than I thought Ziggy was going to be. I didn't ever see Ziggy as big. Ziggy just overshadowed everything.
The rock and roll star who, so to speak, gets too big for his britches, he gets really immensely popular, and because of this he gets kind of very corrupted, and it becomes his downfall. And, you know, like the song says, when the kids had killed the man, they had to break up the band. I definitely think it's got a lot of Jimi Hendrix in it, because there's so many references in the song. The kids had killed the man was kind of like Hendrix was getting so big that his managers were giving him drugs and his fans were giving him drugs and kind of urging him to take it, and he was doing this to more or less loosen up on stage. And it eventually killed him, and the band broke up.
How much did Ziggy's death have to do with his own personality, or with the circumstances in which he existed, or with the...
Yeah, it was his own personality being unable to cope with the circumstances he found himself in, which is being an almighty prophet-like superstar rocker who found he didn't know what to do with it once he got it, which is... it's an archetype, really. It's the definitive rock and roll star. It often happens, and I was just trying to document it as such.
Time takes a cigarette, puts it in your mouth. You pull on your finger, then another finger, then your cigarette. Wall to wall is calling, it lingers, still you forget. Oh, no, you're rock and roll suicide. Too young to choose it, too old to lose it, and the clock waits so patiently on your song. You walk past the cafe, but you can't eat, and you live too long. You're rock and roll suicide.
Yes, I had a kind of a strange psychosomatic death wish thing, I think. But that's because I was so lost in Ziggy, I think, again. It was all that schizophrenia.
And in the death, as the last few corpses lay rotting on the slimy thoroughfare, the shutters lifted an ancient temperance building high on Poacher's Hill, and red, mutant eyes gazed down on Hunger City. No more big wheels. Fleas the size of rats sucked on rats the size of cats, and 10,000 peoploids split into small tribes, coveting the highest of the sterile skyscrapers like packs of dogs assaulting the glass fronts of Loveney Avenue, ripping and re-wrapping mink and shiny silver fox, now legworms, family badge of sapphire and cracked emerald. In the day now, the year of the diamond dogs.
This ain't nothing, no! This is genocide! In the year of the scavenger, season of the bed, sachet on the boardwalk, scurry to the ditch. Just another future song, lonely little kid. Try and wake up tomorrow. I keep my friends serene. Will they come? Oh, baby, come on to me. Will they come? Well, she's coming, I'm gone. I'm out of the garden, baby. You catch a death on the boat. Young girl, they call them the diamond dogs. Yeah, young girl, they call them the diamond dogs. Yeah, yeah, call them the diamond dogs. Yeah, yeah, call them the diamond dogs. Diamond dogs. Yeah, oh, diamond dogs. There you go. Oh, them the diamond dogs. Yeah, oh, them the diamond dogs. Yeah, yeah, oh, them the diamond, oh, them the diamond.
It did look as if it was the ghost of Ziggy Stardust you were tying up.
Yes, exactly. That's what happened. It was trying to get rid of the damn character that was kind of following me around, and hopefully, not. You see, I'm very happy with Ziggy. I think he was a very successful character, and I think I played him very well. But I'm glad I'm me now. I'm glad I'm me. My God, I can trot him out. Time, giving it, keeping it back. That's cool. That's cool. Next one. Got to do it this way to get it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get you when you're down.
Nobody do it. Get it up.
Sometime. Okay, that's good.
I'm only dancing. She turns me on. I'm only dancing.